Welcome to A Guide to Every Deck in EDH. Today we're looking at Alaundo the Seer. So Alaundo is a 4-mana Simic commander, and he says, tap, draw a card, then exile a card from your hand and put a number of time counters on it equal to its mana value. It gains when the last time counter is removed from this card. If it's exiled, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. If you cast a creature spell this way, it gains haste until end of turn. Then remove a time counter from each other card you own in exile. So to be clear, it's exiling the cards with time counters on them, but its own ability is what removes the time counters. The cards do not have suspend. They do not inherently remove their time counters for any reason other than Alaundo's tap ability. So clearly, this is kind of similar to Joyra of the Gitu in that we are sort of suspending cards that we're going to be able to cast for free later on. So we want a bunch of big bombs and, big card advantage spells and whatnot. And similarly, we also want Alaundo to be able to be used immediately. So we want immediate tapping and untapping of Alaundo so that we can keep cycling through cards in our hand and keep reducing the time counters on those cards. So immediately, here's all of our untaps. We've got some that occur only once, like Benefactor's Draw It, untaps all of our creatures and draw a card, or they're just one-time uses like Quirion Ranger, Scrub Ranger, or Kiora's Follower, Wirewood Symbiote, or they're things that happen over and over. So Awakening, Seedborn Muse, Sting the Glinting Dagger, Quest for Renewal, use over and over and over. And then obviously dramatic reversals here. We've got the Isochron Scepter combo in the deck. There's also things like Intruder Alarm, 1000-Year Elixir, which is not technically haste, but is effectively the same thing for our purposes and can untap once. And then a specific combo card, Talarian Kraken. Whenever you draw a card, you may pay 1. When you do, you may tap or untap target creature. So obviously this is pretty expensive at 6 mana, but it triggers every single time we activate Alaundo, and we just have to pay 1 mana to untap Alaundo. So this basically says, for however much mana you have, you can keep using Alaundo for the turn. So then what are we actually getting off of all of these cards that we're pseudo-suspending? Well, we've got our giant Eldrazi monsters like Kozilek, Ulamog, and Void Winnower. We've also got a bunch of card draw, which includes things like Consecrated Sphinx, Jin Gataxias, and Nezahal, along with Teferi's Ageless Insight. Then we've got our combo pieces, and would you know it, there's Teferi's Ageless Insight. So this is a way that if we ever have to discard cards, maybe with something like Mind Over Matter, we can just keep drawing more and more and untapping our commander to just keep doing that for over and over. We also have Devoted Druid plus Luxior to make infinite green if we need to. Hullbreaker Horror plus whatever it's going to combo with. One of the other things we can do is if we have a way of giving Alaundo haste, we can hypothetically generate infinite mana with like Devoted or Hullbreaker Horror, and then we can cast Alaundo, tap, bounce Alaundo back to our hand, cast Alaundo again, tap, bounce it back to our hand, and we can just go through our whole deck that way. Some counter spells. Then we've got pretty straightforward Simic lands, nothing much to see here. Bunch of protection. We need to make sure Alaundo doesn't get countered or killed, so uncounterability, hexproof, etc. Bunch of ramp spells, especially important to have creatures for things like Gaia's Cradle and for Intruder Alarm to untap our creatures and to keep going, which is another way that we can combo. Let's say we have Hullbreaker Horror and Intruder Alarm. As long as we can make more mana than we're paying, we can keep looping that way. Bunch of removal, including things like Cityscape Leveler as just another big threat. We also have big cards like Portal to Phyrexia as another big thing to put into play aside from just all the big stompy creatures that we have. And that is mainly what we're doing. We're mainly not looking to like turbo through our deck and just find an Oracle. We're mainly looking to time travel, remove time counters, and play these big stompy threats to kill our opponents. There's also a little fringe stuff in here like Manama, which is normally included to untap the One Ring, can also of course untap Alaundo, and then we can tap again. And there's a whole bunch of other just little synergies like that peppered throughout the deck, but I'll let you find those as you can. So with all that said, that is going to do it for Alaundo the Seer in EDH.